Rutherford Issues with Bryan Barrett on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at WGNSradio.com.
Rutherford Issues is powered by our friends at Middle Tennessee Electric. Sharing Change has donated now over $12 million to local nonprofits. You can find out how your spare change makes a big impact at sharingchange.org. That's sharingchange.org. This morning, we're going to be talking with friends from the Legal Aid Society, and in studio with me today, Laura Metzger and Ashley Ortega. Did I get your last name right?
Yes.
Okay.
You did a great job.
Very good. Well, I mean, it's kind of like you say it like you spell it.
Yep.
So, do you get called other things, I'm sure?
Metzger a lot, and then...
There's no G.
Yeah.
Or there is a G, but not an ing. But
yeah. People do their best.
Well, good to have you here today, both of you. And we're going to talk about Legal Aid Society. And I don't know why this is a thing for me, but when I hear Legal Aid Society, it sounds like, this inclusive club of just lawyers that get around and they, chat and talk about their cases. But that's not what Legal Aid Society is necessarily.
We do work really collaboratively together throughout our offices, and we do partner with other attorneys too. But so what we are is a nonprofit law firm. We cover 48 counties in Middle Tennessee. We have 8 offices between Clarksville, Columbia, Cookeville, Gallatin, Oak Ridge, Nashville, Tullahoma, and then here in Murfreesboro, we're right off the square on North Walnut Street. So very happy to be in the Murfreesboro area serving Rutherford County and Cannon County. And we work together to help underrepresented and low-income people who have civil matters. And we have certain practice group areas that we cover. So consumer protection, employment issues, housing and home retention, family law and domestic violence, orders of protection, elder law, immigration law, tax disputes, health and benefits, and special education. And then we also help with driver's license restoration and expungements.
Okay. So does Legal Aid Society, is this like a national organization?
There are legal aid societies across the country. We are Legal Aid Society of Middle Tennessee and the Cumberland, so we're in the areas in the Middle Tennessee. There's also West Tennessee Legal Services and East Tennessee Legal Services. So you can find a legal aid anywhere in the country. They might be called something different, and their funding might be a little bit different, but...
Okay, so that's how that works. I was just curious about that. LAS.org, I think. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Just from memory, but it's easy to remember. It's just 6 characters in a period. But LAS.org, Legal Aid Society, to find out all about the Legal Aid Society of Middle Tennessee and the Cumberlands. And of course, I did want to ask, you mentioned maybe difference in funding and things of that nature. How is Legal Aid Society funded?
So it's between donations from anyone can donate. So if you feel the need to donate, we would love to have your donations. Yeah. We also are federally funded and state funded through different grants. Okay.
I thought grants would be a big one. And I know this federal government shutdown has everybody just kind of wondering about, are we in grant writing season now, or?
I'm not sure.
We are not grant writers, thankfully.
Do you see anybody running around pulling their hair out right now?
Yeah, we do have a grant writer that does everything, which she is amazing. But because we're always trying to find different fundings, but it's just like every practice has a different funding. Yeah. And they also start at different years, because some grants will start in July, some grants will start in January. Yeah. And so it just depends. Like, I'm not exactly sure when the funding season is. I guess it's maybe a secondary kind of a season for that. So. And anytime we find anything, we'll just forward it to her and be like, hey, will this work for us? You know?
I'm always looking for ways to help and serve. And I know you have kind of a special relationship with lawyers here in the area, and you probably get some donations from them, and especially volunteer time and such.
Yes,
we do. Scott Kimberly is one that always donates to us and helps us out a lot. We've also had several attorneys that work with us and take some. So we have this program called like contract attorney program. So sometimes when we don't have the resources to take a case and we feel like this client really needs the help, we'll see if one of the private attorneys will be able to take it at a reduced rate. But we do work close with all the attorneys around us, and they also volunteer at our legal clinics. So that's another thing that we have on our website, las.org. Click on free legal clinics, and it shows all of the dates and times of all of our clinics throughout all of Middle Tennessee. And like I said, it's private attorneys that volunteer their time to go give advice to anyone that needs it.
Yeah, I think probably a lot of people maybe think of Legal Aid Society and those clinics,
yes,
and put those two together. So, well, that is good to kind of get that information out there. So now that we know what Legal Aid Society is, Laura, part of what you mentioned, some of the things that you do, protective orders and things of that nature, with October being Domestic Violence Awareness Month, I'm sure you all have been working to also in efforts to bring awareness to domestic violence.
Yes, and Ashley and I are very fortunate. We get to deal with our family law cases, so we work directly with domestic violence survivors. I'm an attorney, and Ashley's our advocate, and we're so lucky to have her in our office. We work to get domestic violence survivors independence and safety through divorce or an order of protection. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, so we wanted to talk a little bit about some things and maybe some misconceptions that people have about domestic violence.
Now, Ashley, Laura mentioned she is a lawyer, you're an advocate. So what does an advocate, I mean, it sounds like, what does an advocate do?
So what I do is I'm usually the first one that they talk to after they call a receptionist. Basically, I just, listen to their story and see what their needs are, and depending on what they need. So, some of them already come with us, with order protections because they go to the Domestic Violence Sexual Assault Center here. But I help with safety planning, advocacy, if they need resources, like if they, I ask them about their situation, if they need help with food stamps or housing, care, if there's any other issues other than just divorces, order protection, or anything like that we can help with, we will offer that to them. And then, of course, like I said, send them to our community partners and agencies that could help them with some of the issues that they need. But mainly I just, guide them along the process and anything that they might need help with, any questions.
I'm sure you have a great relationship with Domestic Violence Sexual Assault Services. They do good work and have been doing good.
An incredible organization. We're very lucky to have it in Murfreesboro, and they do great work. So it's great to have a good relationship with them, and that's one of the resources we recommend to people often.
Yeah, I can imagine, and just knowing how long that they've been doing this great work here in Rutherford County.
We're very thankful for them because they run, like I said, they pretty much run the order protection court and help clients and represent clients with the order protections. Sometimes we'll get some, but of course, if we don't have the resources, they're always there to help our clients. So
what points would you like to bring about to bring awareness to domestic violence here?
Well, I just want to say that, like you said, there's some misconceptions about domestic violence. It's not always physical. It is, it can be emotional, financial, or psychological. It's about one person exerting control over another in an unhealthy and harmful way. So it's a problem that touches every community, regardless of age, race, gender, sexual orientation, religion, nationality, or income level. But it's not just individuals who are impacted, it's the families, the children, and the entire communities that feel the ripple effect. Physical violence is often accompanied by emotional and abusive and controlling behavior, which is part of a large systematic pattern of dominance and control. There's been some substantial progress in reducing domestic violence. An average of 20 people are physically abused by intimate partners every minute. This equates to more than 10 million abuse victims annually. So 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men have been physically abused by an intimate partner, and 1 in 5 women and 1 in 7 men have been severely physically abused. It's the same thing. I don't know. Sorry about that. But yeah, millions of Americans live in daily silent fear within their own homes.
I've been reading a little bit, and in preparation for the interview today, another growing, and we see this in schools with kids as well, but even digital violence, online, that kind of thing. It's becoming a real issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. And revenge porn or, anything like that, that's another form of abuse. Or if you don't have access to your phone unless your partner allows you to, or, they're constantly turning your phone off, that's abuse too. And like Ashley said, this is a much more prevalent issue than people realize. I mean, this is happening in our community. This is happening in every community in America. And it doesn't matter what your race, ethnicity, how much money you're making, what your education is. This is something that affects everyone. And sometimes people don't understand that what's happening to them is abuse.
Yes, exactly. A lot of people, like she said, a lot of people don't know that they're in an abusive situation, because like one thing, like financial abuse, you wouldn't really think about that, but it's like, when the husband doesn't let you work, they control the money, they don't even give you money to go buy food, you can't do anything on your own, and so that's another form of abuse that we're seeing lately, as well.
Controlling the purse strings, if you will, I guess.
Yes.
Exactly, because a lot of our clients, they're stay-at-home moms, they don't work, they don't have jobs, and that's how, it's harder for them to leave in those situations because they don't have anywhere, that they've been isolated from their family. And so that's part of what I do, is kind of like trying to figure out, or telling them like, hey, let's start with this, let's go here, and then start giving them guidance on like what they can do to prepare to leave.
I think some people, especially the family, friends, sometimes they may not see signs. It's not always physical abuse. They may not always see the bruises and things of that nature, and the warning signs. And I think there are, it maybe even is, when these things come to light, a little guilt for that friend group or the family surrounding that person, saying, well, why didn't I notice?
Right. And I think it can be really hard too, because typically abusers are very charismatic and can put on a really good show in front of everybody else, and then they act completely different, behind closed doors. So then that can leave a survivor feeling like, well, everybody else loves my partner, everybody else loves my wife or loves my husband, and maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm doing something that makes them act this way.
And you may be told that that's what it is.
Yes.
Yes. And so some of the signs of abuse that it's important to look out for, and maybe I hope this helps somebody, and if it helps you get out of a situation that's not healthy, I hope that's our goal, is we want to provide a safe place for everyone. So, just showing extreme jealousy of your friends or your family or anybody you're spending time with, preventing or discouraging you from spending time with others, making or carrying out threats to do something to hurt you, whether that's I'm going to turn off your phone or a physical threat, using insulting and demeaning language often to tear you down. And then making light of abuse, acting like it's not a big deal or like you're overreacting. And then controlling your finances. Like Ashley said, we see this often, and it makes it very hard to leave, and usually that's the intention. And then also just preventing you from making your own decisions and having that autonomy. That's a sign of abuse, because then you're in a situation where you don't feel like you can leave.
Yeah. For those who are listening to this, for those who have family members that have gone through this, sometimes it's just like, what would I do? Not knowing. And I think here in our community, we do a pretty good job of making sure people know that there are organizations around that can help. But what do you say to someone who just has that feeling of, I don't know where to go, where to turn, how to get out of this situation?
Yeah, so we have some resources listed, and Ashley is also a great resource, but it's just important to know that there are options for you to leave. We are very lucky to live in a community that does have so many resources and, has put a real priority into helping domestic violence survivors. So if you're in this area, there are resources, there are ways for you to leave, and there are people who want to help you.
Ashley, you mentioned one thing in your statistics that I know I've heard this for years, so I understand, but some people that maybe have not heard interviews around domestic violence, I think we have a preconceived idea that it's women that are the only ones that are being abused. But it can work both ways?
Yes, we have had, like I said, I think it's harder for men to come forward and admit that they are in that situation.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Do you think that's underreported? Maybe
Yes, definitely. I definitely think that it's underreported, and like I said, a lot of them don't even realize that they're in that situation too. I will say with men, it's a little bit more different. It's more of like kind of like stalking situations. Because I used to work at the domestic violence center, and that's what I would see from men that would come, to get orders of protections. But we have had a couple cases where the husbands are, and we love to take them because, like I said, we don't get them too often. So we have had some. So I mean, it's the same. We're always resources if they just want to call and talk about their situation. They think that they might be experiencing this. That's what I would love to help them with, is like, let's look at the signs and what we can do and go forward from there.
And anyone can be a victim of abuse. And I mean, even in same-sex couples, there can still be abuse. And I want people to know that they don't feel shame. You have not done anything to deserve this kind of treatment, no matter who you're with, who you're dating, who you're married to. If you're in an abusive situation, there are resources for you, whether you're male, female, non-binary. There are people who want to help.
Well, and I would even go as far to say, Laura, that, if you think it's underreported for males, I'm sure it's just underreported altogether.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Just for that fear. So LAS.org has a lot of good information. Of course, the Domestic Violence Sexual Assault Services Center, they have got some great information. Any final thoughts here that you want to pass along here in our last minute or so?
Yeah, so in Tennessee, there's also the Domestic Violence Hotline. It's 1-800-356-6767. And then another great resource is the Tennessee Coalition to End Domestic and Sexual Violence. And if you're in a community that has a family justice center, those are another great resource to go to get help. But there are resources in our community. The Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Center is a great place to start. Or if you need help, we are also happy to help. And if it's not something we can help with, we always have different organizations and community partners that we can point you to.
Okay. Any final comments?
Like she said, like if you feel like you're going in that situation, there's also like a online, you can look up a power and control wheel, and it shows like each different sign of abuse, and it'll give a little like summary in each one, and that's how you can. I mean, I think if you feel like you're in a situation, look at the power and control wheel, and you can see what's going on, and it'll help you identify the type of abuse that you're going through. But like I said, if you there's like the hotline.org, if you Google like domestic violence near me, the hotline should pop up, and you can call the hotline. The hotline will actually give you like numbers of shelters or domestic violence centers that are local to you. But yeah, and then those websites, usually when you go onto them, if you're around someone that might find them, there's like quick escape buttons that will go to a different page, so that way that your abuser or anyone won't be able to see what you were looking at.
Yeah. Is that a part of your website?
No, it's not. I think actually it might be, but our website is like kind of just general
legal things.
Yeah, legal. We also have like self-help videos and something like stuff like that on our website as well. And then our Facebook page also has a lot of our information about our clinics and all of the upcoming stuff that we have.
A lot of great information there on the website, so check it out. Laura, Ashley, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Our friends from Legal Aid Society here on the show, Laura Metzger and also Ashley Ortega. If you missed part of the show, you want to check out the podcast, we'll have it up shortly at WGNSradio.com or wherever you listen or watch podcast. You'll be able to find it there as well. Have a great day, everybody. See you back here next time.